All right, so are you ready to really nail that electroplating machine operator interview? We're going to deep dive into some common questions they might ask you just to make sure you really knock their socks off.
Yeah, the key is really just showing those hiring managers that you understand the why behind all the how-tos,
Yeah,
that you really get this field.
I love that. So let's get right to it. One question you might see is, can you describe your experience with electroplating machines?
Oh, yeah, I've definitely seen that one.
I always get tripped up on this one.
It's tough.
Where do you even start?
Honestly, it's not really about listing off every single machine you've ever touched, It's more about showing them that you really understand them. Think about the processes that you've used,
Uh-huh.
like how you done rack plating for intricate parts
Okay.
or barrel plating for bulkier items. And then don't forget to tell them why. Like why'd you choose that method for that project?
So even if you're pretty new to the field, you can still focus on the bigger picture,
Yeah.
like the principles behind the different electroplating techniques.
Yeah, for sure. Like showing them that you get why you'd choose certain bath compositions, that can tell them a lot more than just naming off different machines.
Hmm, that's a great point.
Yeah.
What about those follow-up questions, though? They always seem to come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, for example, what challenges have you encountered with these machines, and how did you overcome them?
This one's all about showing off your problem-solving skills.
Okay.
Don't pretend like you've never messed up or anything you know. It's more about how you approach those challenges when they pop up.
Okay.
So, like, let's say you've had to deal with rough plating before.
Right.
Did you just panic? Or did you check the current density or the bath agitation? Did you think about maybe even the anode material? They want to hear about how you approached it.
You're like a plating detective.
Exactly. And having an example ready to go, something relevant to the job you're interviewing for.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
That can make you really stand out.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, quality control is a really big deal in electroplating, right?
hmm
How would you suggest someone answers, what steps do you take to ensure the quality of the finished product?
That's a good one. This one's all about showing them how detail-oriented you are,
Mm.
and that you're really focused on quality.
Okay.
So don't just list off all the inspection methods. Like,
Huh.
if you talk about using a thickness gauge, explain to them why that's so important.
Okay.
Like, why is accurate plating thickness so critical for that specific product, for its function, for how long it lasts?
Okay.
It shows them you're thinking about the bigger picture and not just going through the motions.
So connect quality control back to the real world.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, being proactive is key here. Like, talk about how you regularly calibrate equipment, how you clean the tanks really well to prevent contamination.
Right.
Things like that show them how dedicated you are to quality even before any problems pop up.
This reminds me of this one time. Well, let's just say that I learned a really tough lesson about quality control from skipping a pre-cleaning step on this DIY project I was working on.
Oh, no.
It was a complete disaster.
Yeah, it really highlights how much every single step matters in electroplating.
Totally.
And you know what else you could do to really impress them?
What's that?
Ask them about their quality standards, like what certifications they have. It shows them that you're really interested and that you're taking initiative.
Oh, that's a smart move. Okay, let's shift gears a bit to troubleshooting and prioritization.
All right.
These are super important when you've got all these machines running at once, right?
Infinitely.
So how would you approach this question? How do you troubleshoot common problems with electroplating machines?
So this one's where your technical knowledge and problem-solving skills really come in handy.
Okay.
Think about it systematically. Maybe you start by doing a visual inspection just to see if anything's obviously wrong. Then maybe check the settings against the process parameters.
Gotcha.
And if it keeps happening, maybe check the machine's logs or ask a senior technician for their thoughts.
So you're like building a whole toolkit for troubleshooting.
Yeah, and don't forget to show them that you know about specific electroplating issues. Like, let's say you've had to deal with pitting in the plating. You can talk about how you checked the bath composition, checked for impurities, adjusted the current density.
Okay.
That shows them you really get it, rather than just saying, I looked in the manual.
That's a really good example. Now, what about prioritizing all those tasks when you're running a bunch of machines at the same time? How do you prioritize tasks when operating multiple electroplating machines?
Well, time management is super important here.
Okay.
Explain your system to them, like how do you decide what to do first? Do you go by deadlines or how complex the process is, or maybe what's going to cause a bottleneck if you don't do it right away? And what tools do you use? A whiteboard,
Okay.
checklists,
Uh-huh.
any software. Tell them about all that stuff.
So it's almost like you're an air traffic controller, but for electroplating lines.
Exactly. And if you've got a good story about juggling a bunch of stuff at once, maybe meeting a tight deadline without messing anything up,
Right.
that can really showcase what you can do.
That's a great point. So it sounds like being able to really explain what you're thinking and how you approach things is really important.
Definitely. Yeah, clear communication is always a good thing.
Especially when things are complicated and there are safety concerns.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, speaking of which, even if you don't work directly with customers, you might get asked about dealing with difficult people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, how would you recommend answering, have you ever had to deal with a difficult customer or client? How did you handle the situation?
Even if you don't work with customers, you can still answer this one well.
Okay.
Think about a time you had to work through something tough with a coworker or a supervisor. Maybe you disagreed about how to do something, or there was a mix-up about deadlines.
Right.
The key is to show them that you're professional and you're focused on finding a solution.
So just stay calm and try to understand where they're coming from.
Exactly. Did you compromise on a deadline?
Okay.
Or find a better way to work together.
Right.
Highlight how your communication skills helped everyone calm down and find a solution,
That's really good advice. It seems like no matter what the situation is, collaboration and clear communication are super important.
Oh, they're essential, yeah. Whether it's customers or coworkers or even a machine that's acting up.
Exactly. And those are just a few examples of how you can make your answers really strong and show off your skills.
Definitely.
Remember, every interview is a chance to show them how much you love electroplating and how you can thrive in this kind of fast-paced environment.
Absolutely.
And speaking of making your answers even better, that's where RoleCatcher's AI can be a total game changer.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. RoleCatcher's AI can do some pretty amazing stuff.
What does it do?
Like, it looks at specific job descriptions, and figures out exactly what skills and keywords they're looking for. So you can make your CV and cover letter perfect.
Wow. So it's like having a personal career coach right in your pocket.
Exactly.
Now, before we move on to part 2 of this interview deep dive, I want to touch on safety.
Okay.
I mean, safety is so important in the electroplating world, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We're dealing with chemicals and electricity and all sorts of stuff.
You're dealing with some serious stuff.
So interviewers are definitely going to want to know that you understand how important safety is.
Yeah, they want to know you're committed to doing things the right way.
So how would you recommend someone answers? Can you describe your experience with safety protocols in an industrial setting?
Well, start by showing them that you know about the rules and regulations and the industry standards,
Right.
Like, do you have any special training or certifications,
Oh.
maybe OSHA compliance or hazmat handling? And don't just list them off, Explain how that training has changed how you approach safety.
So tell them what you learned and how you use it.
Exactly. And what always makes an answer stronger?
That.
A real-life example.
All right.
So think about a time where you saw a potential safety hazard and did something about it. Or maybe you followed a procedure that prevented an accident from happening. Like, did you ever see a leaking container and report it right away? Or make sure everyone was wearing the right PPE before handling chemicals?
Those are good examples.
Yeah, you want to show them that you don't just know the rules, but that you use them.
And that you're looking out for everyone.
Exactly. You're looking out for yourself and everyone around you.
I like that. Okay, so we've covered a lot in part 1 of our electroplating interview prep.
Yeah, we have.
We've tackled those tricky questions about your experience and gone over quality control and troubleshooting. And we even talked about how awesome RoleCatcher's AI is for making your application amazing.
For sure.
And in part 2, we're going to get into some even more challenging questions.
Oh, yeah, we got some tough ones coming up.
We're going to help you handle those curveballs and really show off what you know and how much you love this field.
We'll give you all the tools you need to ace that interview.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back. We'll be back in a flash. Welcome back. We're going to keep diving deep into prepping for that electroplating machine operator interview.
Okay, so let's get right back into those tough questions. The ones that can really make a candidate stand out from the crowd. What about those times when things go wrong? Like when a machine just decides to stop working in the middle of a process. What do you do then? How would you suggest answering? How do you handle a situation where a machine malfunctions or breaks down?
That's a good one. This question is all about seeing how you handle pressure. Can you stay calm and think clearly when things get crazy? And especially, can you keep safety in mind when everything's going wrong?
Yeah.
It's not about knowing the answer to every single problem.
Right. It's about showing them that you have a process, that you don't just panic.
So it's like having a mental checklist.
Exactly. First things first, safety always comes first.
Of course.
You shut the machine down, make sure the power's off, and check for any hazards.
Gotcha.
Then you start gathering information.
Okay.
Check for error codes, see what the manual says, and look for any signs of damage.
So you're like a detective, but for machines.
Exactly. And if it's a simple fix and you know how to do it, tell them how you'd fix it, but always remember to emphasize safety.
Okay.
But if it's something you can't handle yourself,
Right.
it's important to know when to call for backup. Get maintenance involved or a more experienced technician.
You don't want to make things worse.
Exactly. And if you have a good story about a time you fixed a machine problem, especially one that relates to the job you want,
right,
that's a great way to show them what you can do.
That makes sense. Now let's talk about deadlines. Everyone's got to deal with deadlines.
All right. Deadlines are a part of life.
How would you recommend tackling the question? Can you describe a time when you had to work under tight deadlines?
So this one's all about showing off your time management and organizational skills.
Okay.
You want to pick a story that really shows how you can stay focused and get things done, even when you're under pressure.
So don't just say, I'm a hard worker.
Right. You've got to paint a picture for them, like really walk them through it.
Okay.
Maybe you had a rush order come in, or a machine broke down right before a deadline.
Oh, no.
How did you handle it? Did you have to change your whole plan?
Okay.
Did you delegate tasks? Did you work extra hours?
Right. Yeah.
But make sure you focus on the good stuff,
Like what you learned.
Yeah, like did you meet the deadline? Did you go above and beyond? Did you learn something valuable about working under pressure?
Those are good points.
Yeah.
And it never hurts to give them some numbers, right? Like, did you increase production or reduce errors even with the tight deadline?
Exactly. Numbers always make a story stronger.
Now, some questions aren't just about you individually. They're about how you work with others.
Oh, yeah. Teamwork is super important.
How would you suggest someone answers? Can you describe a time when you had to train or mentor a colleague?
This one's a chance to show off your leadership skills and how good you are at teaching others.
Okay.
Pick a specific time when you helped someone learn something new about electroplating.
Fine.
Maybe you showed a new hire how to use a machine, or helped someone troubleshoot a problem they kept running into.
Right.
The key is to show them that you're patient and a good communicator.
Okay.
You know that you can explain things in a way that makes sense.
Right.
And don't forget to tell them how your help made a difference.
Okay.
Like, did your coworker get better at their job? Did it improve the team's morale or efficiency?
Good.
You want to show them that you're not just a skilled operator, but a great team player too.
I like that. So let's move on to a question that shows you're proactive and always looking for ways to improve things. Can you describe a time when you had to implement process improvements in your role?
Oh, yeah, this is a good one. This is your chance to show them you're a problem solver.
Okay.
Think about a time when you saw something that wasn't working right.
Yeah.
Maybe it was slowing things down or causing mistakes or even a safety issue.
Right.
Tell them how you figured out what was wrong and what you did to fix it.
Okay.
And if you have any numbers to back it up.
Like what?
Like if you reduced waste or increased production or made things safer, those are always impressive.
Yeah, those numbers really tell a story.
Yeah.
So for example, I noticed we were wasting a lot of plating solution because it was spilling during transfers. So I designed a jig that reduced spills by 50% and saved the company a bunch of money.
That's a perfect example.
Really?
It's clear and concise, and it shows that you take initiative and solve problems and that you're thinking about the company's bottom line.
Awesome. Now, we've been talking about individual questions, but interview prep is about more than just memorizing answers, right?
Oh, for sure. It's about presenting yourself in the best light you know.
Right.
Showing them you're genuinely interested in the company and the job.
So do your research and show them you're passionate about the field.
Exactly. Research the company, what they do, what they value, where they fit in the industry.
Okay.
It's like studying for a test, but instead of memorizing facts, you're gathering information that will help you connect with the interviewers and show them how much you love electroplating.
I like that. And don't forget to practice your answers out loud.
Oh, yeah. Practicing is so important. It helps you refine your answers and figure out where you need more detail, and it boosts your confidence.
That's where RoleCatcher's AI can be a real game changer, right? It can help you tailor your CV and cover letter, but it can also help you practice your answers and get feedback.
Absolutely. RoleCatcher's AI is like having a personal interview coach.
It is.
It analyzes your answers and tells you what you can improve and gives you suggestions for making them even better.
Wow.
You can even do mock interviews and get feedback on your delivery and your confidence.
Like a virtual interview with personalized coaching.
Exactly.
That's amazing. It sounds like such a valuable tool for anyone who's prepping for a job interview, especially in a technical field like electroplating, where you really need to show off your knowledge and communicate clearly.
It really is. And remember, even if you don't get the job,
Right.
every interview is a chance to learn.
That's a good point.
Take some time to think about what went well and what you could do better next time. It's all part of the journey.
Speaking of the journey, let's talk about career paths in the electroplating industry. The career guide mentions different career stages, like starting as an operator, then becoming a specialized technician, and even moving into management. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out?
It's great to think about the long term, you know?
Even when you're just trying to land that first job.
Exactly. It shows ambition and a desire to learn and grow. Take a look at the career guide.
Okay.
See what interests you. What are you drawn to?
So if someone loves the technical side of things, they might want to specialize in quality control or process optimization.
Exactly. And if they like the hands-on work of operating and fixing machines, they could aim for a senior technician role. Understanding those paths can help you ask good questions during the interview.
About what?
About what kind of training and development opportunities they offer.
Oh, that's smart. It shows them you're not just looking for a job, but a career.
Right. And as you get more experience, don't be afraid to try new things, take on new responsibilities, get certifications, go to industry events.
Okay.
The electroplating field is always changing, so it's important to keep learning.
That's true. Now, before we wrap up part 2, I want to talk about a question that a lot of people get nervous about.
Oh, yeah. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's the one.
Yeah.
What's the best way to answer that, especially if you're just starting out?
That question isn't about having a perfect plan.
Okay.
It's about showing them your ambition and how you fit with the company and understanding how you could grow within the field.
So don't just say, I want to be a manager.
Right. You want to connect your goals to what the company does and to the electroplating field.
Okay.
So you could say something like, in 5 years, I see myself as a highly skilled technician specializing in something specific, like hard chrome plating or electroless nickel plating. I want to use my expertise to help the company achieve its goals and stay a leader in the industry.
That's a great example. It shows you've done your research, you're ambitious, and you see yourself as a valuable part of their team.
Exactly. And remember, technical skills are super important.
Of course.
But don't forget about those soft skills.
Like what?
Communication, teamwork, problem solving, a positive attitude, those are all important in any job.
Right.
Especially in an electroplating shop where everyone has to work together.
That's a good point. Well, that wraps up part 2 of our electroplating interview prep deep dive.
We covered a lot of ground today.
We did. We talked about challenging situations, career paths, and even that scary 5-year plan question.
We talked about how important it is to prepare and do your research and how tools like RoleCatcher's AI can give you an edge. And most importantly, we emphasized how important it is to show your passion for electroplating and your desire to be part of this exciting and ever-changing field.
Absolutely. Welcome back to the final part of our electroplating machine operator interview deep dive. We've talked about a lot, like your technical skills and how to handle all kinds of tricky situations.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
But there's one more thing that's super important, and we haven't really talked about it yet.
Yeah.
How do you really make a great impression?
Oh, yeah. It's not just about answering their questions.
Right.
You've got to engage with the interviewers. Show them that you're really interested in the company and the job itself.
So show them you did your research, and you're not just there for any job.
Exactly. And one of the best ways to do that, ask good questions at the end of the interview.
Oh, yeah. I always struggle with that.
It's tough.
I never know what to ask.
Well, think about questions that show you understand what the company does.
Okay.
What challenges they face, what their plans are for the future,
So, like, what kind of questions?
Well, you could ask about their specific electroplating processes, for example.
Okay.
Or the types of materials they work with, or how they approach sustainability.
So something like, I noticed you specialize in electroless nickel plating. What are some of the challenges and advantages of that process compared to other methods?
Perfect. That shows them you've done your homework and you're really thinking about the technical side of things.
Mm.
You could also ask about their quality control processes,
Uh,
their safety protocols,
oh.
their training and development programs.
Yeah.
You know, things like that.
So it's all about showing them you're looking for the right fit.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to bring up your own experiences and career goals.
Okay, yeah.
Like if you're really into automation and electroplating, you could ask about how they use robotics or if they have any plans to incorporate new technologies.
So connect your interests to what they do.
Right. But remember, it should be a real conversation, not just you firing off a bunch of questions you memorized.
Right.
Listen to their answers. Ask follow-up questions. Show them that you're really engaged.
That makes sense. So asking thoughtful questions is a great way to make a good impression and show them how enthusiastic you are.
Definitely.
Now, before we wrap up this whole deep dive, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier about using RoleCatcher's AI to get ready for your interview.
Oh, yeah. RoleCatcher is a great tool.
Can you remind everyone how it works and how it can help them really shine?
Sure. So RoleCatcher's AI is like having your own personal interview coach.
It is.
It analyzes job descriptions and figures out exactly what skills and keywords the employers are looking for.
So it helps you tailor your CV and cover letter to that specific job?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it can also help you with the interview itself.
Really?
It can give you feedback on your answers, help you make them stronger. And you can even practice with video rehearsals and get AI-powered insights to improve how you come across and boost your confidence.
That's amazing. It's like having a virtual mock interview with personalized feedback.
Exactly.
That's so cool. It sounds like a really valuable tool for anyone getting ready for an interview, especially in a field like electroplating, where you need to show off your technical skills and communicate clearly.
It can really make a difference.
Okay, so as we wrap up this electroplating machine operator interview deep dive, I just want to say that we've covered a lot.
We have, from the technical questions to those behavioral ones, from showcasing your skills to making a lasting impression.
We talked about how important it is to prepare and research and use tools like RoleCatcher's AI to give yourself an edge.
Absolutely. And most importantly, we talked about how important it is to show your passion for this field, that you're excited to be part of this dynamic and ever-changing world of electroplating.
To all you aspiring electroplating professionals out there, remember, with the right prep and a positive attitude and a genuine love for this field, you can totally nail that interview and start an awesome career in electroplating.
Best of luck on your journey.
And that's a wrap. Until next time, keep shining.